Okay, so we're bringing the tire machine back with an auxiliary arm for our machine. Super excited. Here we go.
TLT Garage USA. TLT Garage USA. Direction. Tire burning. TLT Garage USA. TLT Garage USA. USA, USA.
Alright, so I have no audio. I hooked up the wrong cord to my mic, so I'm going to be doing voiceover. So basically what's going on here is I got an auxiliary arm for my tire machine to help, and with the low profile tires, I guess run flat tires are kind of a challenge because they're so stiff. The trick is you got to get it down below the bead seat. You got to get it to like the body of the rim where it's narrower, so that gives the tire more room to stretch, and you're not overly stretching it and damaging the tire when you put it on. So with the auxiliary arm, it helps push it down. So I have this little tool here, and it can help. You pop it on the lip of the wheel, and it keeps it somewhat below the bead, but it just doesn't keep it down enough. Now, using the two together might work. You'll see later later on in the video that it might work to use both. But for now, the whole goal of this video is to get the auxiliary arm on. And what I'm doing here is I'm saying this is a 45 series tire, so this is a perfect tire to be practicing on. This is a leftover extra Mustang wheel I had, and so I don't remember what I'm talking about. Unfortunately, it's going to be kind of a funky video with my voiceover. So let's get looking at the parts here. So first off, this is the arm that we're going to be mounting on the machine. It's got an articulating two-piece elbow that can swivel, and then this is air actuated, and it will push and hold the tire down as it's spinning around, using the articulating arm to spin around. And you can also use it to help lift the tire up for when you're dismounting a tire. Main goal is for helping it put on the tire. So that the foot swivels around, you can move it. It's got some air inlets top and bottom here, and yeah, so that's pretty much what's going on with this thing. Yada yada yada. Let's put it back down. Okay, so now I'm picking up the pin. So this is the original pin that goes in the machine that holds this main arm on, and that's what its pivots on, swivels on. Now it is a 25 millimeter pin, I believe, 26 millimeter pin, and this is the new pin. And see how it has that extra piece on top? Well, that's where the other arm goes on, and this is the part that had to be cut down. You could tell by it's all shiny and silver. It was 36 millimeters, so you had to make it fit. You have to cut it down. Luckily, my dad has a lathe, and he was able to machine it down for me, turn it down for me, and it just took him a little while, not super long. And so yeah, this is the new pin. This piece will go in to the old arm, and the only real issue I'm concerned with is from that shoulder to where it bolts on. Well, this is I'm just talking about the other arm will come on it, and this pin goes down inside, and where this shoulder is going to stop the pin from dropping. Oh no, what I'm talking about here is people can cut it and weld it on top. So you'll keep this pin and use this pin. You make two pins, make one pin out of two, but we were able to machine it down. My opinion, it's a better way to go. But if you can't get somebody to machine it, the biggest issue here is where the shoulder meets. It's a little bit shorter than the original pin. So, but you can see the wear mark in that other pin where it meets the framework of the tire machine that the pin should be okay. All it has to do is insert a little bit into that lower framework so it doesn't wobble like that. Because if it wobbles like that, then it won't work right. But I can always put a shim up inside there to prevent it from wobbling around. But it should be okay. So we're gonna grease this up. That doesn't turn, so it's not critical that it, really seats all the way down in, just as long as it catches a little bit. So then let's see what we're gonna do here. Okay, I'm gonna start putting it together. Okay, so we got it all put together. This is the air connection that, if I can show it here, look, there it is. The T I put in. We'll find out later that that was a mistake. So now I'm going to charge the system. It takes it a second to charge because there's a large air tank, relatively large air tank down there for the bead breaker. The rest of it just runs off the air line like normal. Well, it should be, let's see, should be good to go. Let's try it. And nothing. Big zero. Okay, so what I did, I'm realizing at the second, is that line I tied to, that's the line that goes to my air chuck. Well, that air chuck only gets air to it when I step on the lever. So look, I step on the lever and it works. So yeah, so proof of concept, it will work. I just need to not be a knucklehead and connect it to the wrong airline. So it won't be a big deal. I will just have to take it off of there and connect it to the main line coming in, and then get a fitting to put that back together, or get some more line to replace the line itself. But I'm going to look at the shop, see if I have any other connectors, but I find that I don't have any connectors. I have some T's, but I don't have any just, butt connectors like that. So yeah, I'm talking more about if I step on it, it works, and it's just not going to get there. Sorry for this voiceover. This is just going to be kind of a terrible video. I apologize, but I don't want to have to take it all apart and put it all back together. So anyhow, so I've got it taken off. That line's loose, and then I was thinking I wouldn't be able to test it today. Well, duh! I just said that line only gets air when I step on it. So as long as I'm not trying to step on that thing, the foot should work. All right. So what we got to do here is we're going to get the air out of this tire, take the Schrader valve out of the valve stem, and then we will get it start on our test run here. So luckily with no audio, you don't get to hear that blasting air coming out of that tire. And then we are going to get it down on the floor here in just a second. I'm not sure really what I'm jabbering on about, but let's get it on the floor and we can break the bead. So I need to have a little elevator music in the background or something. So anyhow, I'm getting ready to break it. Then I'm like, oh wait, my son-in-law taught me that you don't want to do it right next to a valve stem because there could be a tire pressure sensor in there and you could possibly damage it. So I give it a little spin, and now we're breaking it. Now it's not a big deal in this tire, this wheel, because this most likely is going to go on an old rig of some kind, but it's just good practice to not break it. Alright, so I'm not sure what that little blip was. Okay, we're going to open... Oh, I know. I'm going to flip it around. Now what I'm going to talk about is something I noticed when I was doing a taller tire is if you have your arms out like this, you have them extended. Let's get in a little closer here. These stick out, and they stick out far enough, either the main rods there or even the side arm, that when you go to break a bead and you have your hand on top of the tire, it can shove your hand underneath there and it can pinch it pretty good. So make sure these are in when you're breaking the bead. It's just good safety. I'd hate to see somebody hurt their hand. Alright, let's get it spun around here. We'll get the bead broken and then we'll get it up on the tire machine. Okay, we're going to open them up. I got to go find a tool. Alright, I'm back. We got a camera angle change here. Now what I'm talking about here is getting the little fingers on the lip of the wheel. So on aluminum wheels, you want to try to grab the outside lip. So it just helps you reduce possibly damaging the wheel. Now it's all you're going to do is you're going to make some little dents on the inside of the rim. It also doesn't grab as good if you're doing the inside. So now what I'm talking about is I don't love the control I have on these. I'm not very good at it yet. When you have it, you push it, you lock it down, they come all the way out. But when you want them to come in, you have to kind of slowly release that. And it's kind of all like if you just push down and unlock it, they just go in. They don't stop. So you have to kind of try to release a little air as you go, and they'll stop, they'll go, they'll stop, they'll go, they'll stop. But if you push too far, they open back up. So anyhow, let's give it a shot here. I moved the wheel around a little bit, so I've got two jaws on the wheel at once, thinking I'm a smart feller. But what ends up happening is it basically jams up because they don't slide along the rim. So when they try to close, they're done. They pinch that rim and they grab a hold of it, but the other two haven't locked on yet. So what I have to do is I have to not be a knucklehead, take it off one of the teeth or one of the fingers so that all four can move together simultaneously and lock down on that wheel. Now, most of you guys probably don't make this mistake, but if you did, you probably figured it out. But anyhow, just to let you know in the future, just put it on one arm or one finger. I got to pick a name for these things. All right, now I'm going to get up underneath here and watch what I'm doing. Slowly release the pedal. Bring it in, and I think we are locked on. All right, locked on. All right, now I'm explaining that you can have the arms, fingers all the way in, set the wheel on there, and then open them up, and then they have little pins, little knuckle things that will lock on the inside of the rim, but you'll make little marks on the inside of the rim, especially aluminum rims. Steel rims, you really won't bother it, but into this rim, I don't really want to do that if I can help it. Not that this rim is perfect, but it's just good practice. All right, we're going to put a little bit of lubrication on here, a little bit of soap. Grab my spoon, bring the duck bill down, get it all lined up against the rim. I do it about a 1/4 inch away from it maybe. I'm going to tighten up my lock, my adjustment screw. like I said, about a 1/4 inch away, because it's going to flex when you go to put some tension on it. It's going to want to flex and push into the rim. And so I get my spoon in here. Oh, put the right way. There we go. There we go. Okay, got it in. Now use your muscles. Use the muscles. Oh, there we got it. Got it down. I'm going to put a little more soap on it, just because I want to make sure it slides across it really nice and I don't tear the tire. Good practice. Okay, I just keep putting a little soap on it, and we should be loose. All right, we're off. All right, well, no audio, you don't hear the clanging and banging. So, okay, now what I'm talking about here is I'm not going to take the tire all the way off, because our goal is to use the auxiliary arm or the extra arm to help push down on the tire to help mount the tire. So I'm already there. So let's put some more. Well, first I'm going to orient it again so the valve stem is not right by the duckbill. Let's see, what am I doing? I'm going to put a little more soap on it. Soap is the key, so it slides across that duckbill nice. Now, the reason for this arm is I've damaged a couple of tires. One beyond repair, couple it just it didn't damage them bad enough they couldn't be used, but I just don't want to get in the habit. It's just hard on the tire. So let's see here. Oh, I'm unlocking my caster wheels because I need to move my tire machine away from my wall, because the arm swings behind it a little bit. Come on, use your back. Use your back. All right, there we go. There we go. So I see how here it's going to go back behind it and it'll hit my bead blaster there. And so what I'm noticing here is the arm is going to hit the upper part of the, what do you even want to call that, the main tower, the mast of the tire machine. And maybe if that pin was a little longer, it could go around it. Maybe it's supposed to. So at this point, it just kind of is what it is. The only thing I can do is I can maybe space it up, or I can maybe take the pin to a shop or have my dad make me another pin that is a little bit taller, so that it will clear that upper part of the mast. All right, so here we go. We're gonna get the arm set up. This is what she's for. So get her lined up on this edge of the tire, and I'm gonna give it shoved down on there, and then we're gonna put her down. Now see here, if you watch there by my hand, it kind of comes back up, so that's probably where I need to put my other little plastic arm on, but it popped down and it worked. Or I need to shove down harder on it. It's going to be some learning curve, but it worked, and it didn't appear to damage the tire. So yeah, there we go. It worked. The auxiliary arm was about $180 on Amazon. You can get it off eBay. Just be careful, because some of them are like $150 plus $100 shipping, or $180 plus $200 shipping. So just make sure you're really paying attention to shipping costs. Some are $140, but $50 to ship. So it's the same price. Here I'm just talking more about the pin height, and that it still worked okay, and you're really limited on the swing is based on the cylinder hitting that pin. So I don't really think it's a big deal that the arm touches the mast there. But so we're going to swing it back and forth. I'll show you how far down it goes. And I was concerned that it wouldn't have enough, when it was all the way up, it wouldn't have enough height. Well, that wheel is a 10-inch wheel, and I have enough height. If I need more, if I put like a 12-inch wheel on there, I might need a little more height. But I think it's going to work just fine. So here I'm going to go over to the balance machine. I just want to clear up a couple things. This piece here, when I first did my video, it was 2 pieces. Well, my son-in-law came by and he just went, snap, hey, it's 1 piece. And I went, oh, nice, cool, cool. So now you're not trying to put one on and then put the other one on. I don't know how I didn't get to snap together. And then down here, this collar, I believe I said goes on after the wheel, but it doesn't. It goes on first. I'm not even sure how I did. I think I was using big collar for a big wheel, so it made it work. But with like Volkswagen stuff, it's not going to work that way. So, and what I'm trying to show you here is there is a spring inside the machine, and that puts the tension on it, and that's what helps you center the wheel. So you want the wheel up against that backing plate, and then that cone will push into that spring. So what I'm talking about here is I may not be using the balancing machine. I might just try balancing beads. But I was speaking with the guys on YouTube, one guy that commented on my video, that he thought the balancing beads were more for larger wheels and tires, truck wheels and tires, 60, 70 series, maybe not for the 40 series, 45, 35 series. But if I get proficient at using my tire machine, I can do some tests and use my little arm here to take some wheels and tires off. I mean, all I really need to do is break the bead and then smash it down and put the beads in, and then we can give it a shot. So yeah, that should be the end of this video. I really appreciate everybody who watched my last truck video. Another truck video will be coming out soon. And all the people that commented and subscribed and liked, I massively appreciate every single one, if I can talk. And so yeah, good luck with anybody that wants to buy an auxiliary arm.